One of the biggest questions looming for true Marvel fans, for true MCU fans, is what's next. And we're always looking forward. We're always looking to see what's on the other side of the fence. And I know we have some special times coming up. If the near future, the short-term future, is anything played off of how Deadpool and Wolverine was put together and how they were able to achieve what they did, then it's going to be a wild ride leading up and into in the end of Secret Wars. But what's next? What happens after Secret Wars? I think it's pretty obvious that Kevin Feige and Marvel have made it clear that we're going to get a reboot. Now, what is that reboot going to look like? That's what we're going to talk about today. And it's going to be weird talking about the new Marvel Cinematic Universe and Phase 1. Which I also am going to talk about today, as opposed going on to Phase 8, 9, and 10. So we're going to talk about what actually happens after Secret Wars. And you may agree, you may disagree, and I think one thing we can all agree on is it's going to be a sad day. When we go into that Secret Wars, that last one, whether it's a one-part or two-part, or we go into the final one of the multiverse saga, it is truly going to be a sad day for people of all ages. I can tell you personally, it's going to be really, really emotional for me. Welcome to the multiverse, everybody. Jimmy here, and today we're going to go on a trip, and we're going to predict how the Marvel Universe will kind of lay out over the next 10, 20, 25 years. And I said it's going to be an emotional day for me. Me and Ashley, my wife, started watching Marvel movies together with Iron Man 1, and it's become our thing. We go to every single Marvel movie together to the point where it's grown, and we have Marvel movie family night. So when a new Marvel movie comes out, the entire family gets together and goes to the movie theater and experiences it together. I mean, the memories, just everything about it, and I already love movie theaters and going to movies anyway, has been truly special. So when the day comes that we say goodbye to some of these actors and characters that we've grown up with, I literally mean grown up with, it's going to be a hard one. But it's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. So let's go through this. We go up through Secret Wars. I'm just going to really quick talk about the main kind of plot theories that are going to happen. One way or another, we're going to get to Battleworld. And that means if Battleworld exists, all the other universes are gone. I mean, you could go from the Secret Wars original comic run, you could go from the 2015 version, whatever you want to do. At the end, the culmination will most likely be that everybody is on Battleworld and Doom is overseeing everybody, whether that's his Emperor God Doom, whatever, doesn't matter. But at the very end of that, something's going to happen to where we get that snap, where we get that reset. And that's what Marvel is planning on doing. You can't keep going with the same legendary actors that you've built up. And on top of that, you can't keep going with a lot of the actors and actresses and characters that didn't really hit the spot, that a lot of people don't care about. What do you do with them? They don't just disappear. You have to discard of them somehow, right? These legacy characters, though, that's the hardest part. How do you move forward and reset the MCU and start over from scratch? Well, they're in a really good spot to do that. And I say that because of the X-Men. I'll explain as we go. So we go through Secret Wars, we get the reset, and then somehow everything ends up being in the sacred timeline. Any universes that somehow still had pieces left, if that's even a thing, it all culminates to one universe, the 616 timeline, and everything ends up here. So what do you do with that? I mean, everybody's on Earth, or at least in this universe. What do you do with all the legacy characters? All the characters that are on the Marvel roster right now? Well, I can tell you right now, throughout Doomsday and Secret Wars, you're going to see a lot of you're going to see a lot of cannon fodder. You're going to see a lot of people go down. And that's going to be their way to kind of get them out of the picture and move forward. When it comes to the legacy characters, you're probably going to see most of them be gone as well. There may be some remnants left in the new, I'm going to call it Phase 1. There may be some remnants left for Phase 1. There may be some popular ones. When you think about characters like Spider-Man, we know that Miles Morales is coming, but we also know Tom Holland has a lot of movies left on his contract. So we could very easily see him past Secret Wars. And they know he's a cash cow, so that's definitely a thing. And we don't know how long it's going to be for him to take Miles under his wing and pass on that mantle. But we do know that Miles will be the future of the Spider-Man franchise, which of course is a huge part of the Marvel franchise. We also know by the end of Secret Wars that Marvel will have IP access and everything they need to use absolutely every character in their Marvel roster, which I'm telling you right now, the MCU is just a small portion of what's actually out there. Stories that have not been told yet. So we get past Secret Wars. We have some remnants left, which would be cool. Keep a couple, but not a lot. Just keep the ones that make sense. You have to let legends die. You do. And once we get out of the multiverse saga, we're probably not going to dabble in multiversal travel anymore, at least for a long time. They're going to core it down. They're going to ground it down. But here's where the X-Men come in. You literally use the X-Men as your phase 1 new MCU reboot. You do it just like they did in the past. Flesh out the stories, create the new X-Men lines, get it to a point where they come together just like the original Avengers did in the Infinity Saga, and then you have your X-Men. What happens with the Avengers? Well, they're not going to delete the Avengers. The Avengers, once again, this is a business. I know there's fans that are involved, and I know Kevin Feige's a fan, and they're all fans, but at the end of the day, they're fans of making money. And they have to make money because they have shareholders. And I'll tell you right now, the Avengers makes money. So you could do it simultaneously. You start phase 1 over on this new 616 that everybody is in this universe, and a lot of them are on this planet Earth, and you build out the new X-Men. And when I say new, I mean new. You're going to have a new Magneto. You're going to have a new, I hate to say this, you're going to have a new Wolverine. You're going to have a new, hopefully, Gambit, Professor X. We can go on and on. They're all going to be new actors. But the way they get there is through Secret Wars, which makes total sense on how you just kind of wipe the slate clean and you go forward. Now, I do hope that they always put in little Easter eggs and cameos and tributes to the legacy characters like Iron Man and Captain America are Iron Man and Captain America's. I hope they do that, but we'll have to wait and see. And then on the Avengers side, you have the same exact thing. This is going to be a reboot, people, for the most part. Except for, like I said, maybe Spider-Man and a select other few that make sense that have long-term value. But everything else is probably going to be rebooted. So a new Iron Man, a new Captain America, a new Hulk, a new Scarlet Widow, a new Hawkeye. I can go on and on and on. A new Scarlet Witch, a new Doctor Strange. It's going to literally be a complete wipe, and we're going to get all new characters to fall in love with and to build up as we did. And a lot of you've grown up with this over the last 10, 15 years. I mean, we're going, 10, 15 years. We'll be at 20 by then. Dang, you'll have kids. So you'll be going to the movies with your kids for the new Marvel Cinematic Universe, Phase 1, and you'll be telling them, hey, this is cool. You need to really watch what's happening here from the very beginning, just like I did with Iron Man, and then it just took off and we ran with it. It's kind of cool to think about. It's super sad to think about. I'm actually getting sad thinking about it right now because I hope to be able to witness this. But that's also what makes it super special as a fan. So yes, I truly feel you are going to get all new rebooted characters across the X-Men line. They really can focus on the X-Men. Heck, the next saga, Phase 1, if they do Phase 1 and don't go into Phase 8, 9, and 10, which I think is kind of silly once you get into like 12 and 13, it just doesn't have that punch. You really start over with Phase 1 and it has an impact just saying it. You definitely make it the X-Men saga. I almost think the Avengers plays a second fiddle to a degree. I hate to say that, but we really have to focus on the X-Men saga. And then maybe the Avengers come together slowly as well, and we can grow out those new Iron Mans and Captain Americas and Thors and things like that as well as we go. But I think the primary focus is probably going to be X-Men, which I also think it makes sense. But then again, you could have the Inhumans. We're probably going to get a new Fantastic Four group as well. I mean, a couple of those characters, Reed Richards, Pedro, he's on the older side. They're going to want to refresh all of that 5, 6, 7 years down the road. So here's my question for you. Are you on board with this? How sad are you going to be? But do you understand that this is kind of the path that we've always been on. You can't keep building this out and building this out. And they've done a lot of it with handcuffs. They've done a lot of it with one hand behind their back because they weren't able to use all their IP. And then they also lost their way, and we got a lot of stuff that we really don't need, so we need to trim the fat, right? So, where are you at? Are you good if after Secret Wars, when you walk out of that theater knowing that this is the end of an era? Because that's truly probably what's going to happen. You will probably never see RDJ in another Marvel movie. You'll never see Chris Hemsworth or Chris Evans in another Marvel movie. That's just the reality. It's just reality. That's just life. That's how it's going to work. But you're going to get to see new faces take on those mantles and maybe portray them different. Maybe come from a different angle with them. I mean, you can't have Wolverine and him try to fake it and be like you. That Wolverine is going to have to come up with his own way. I mean, his own way to capture the audience in their hearts. So it's going to be interesting. The biggest one that's going to be interesting is Deadpool. And I know you're all sitting back thinking, you can't replace these people. They're irreplaceable. Iron Man is RDJ. Chris Evans is Captain America. I mean, even though Anthony Mackie's Captain America. I mean, Scarlett Johansson is Black Widow. I get it. You say you can't, but they definitely can. You're just going to have to be on board and be open to seeing what direction they go and what these new actors and actresses can bring to that character. It's going to be special times over the next 4 to 5 years. It's going to be crazy, especially for true Marvel fans that have been on this train since the very beginning, which I am proud to say I have. And hopefully we'll be on this train with the Multiverse channel right alongside you guys. So let me know what you think. Give me your thoughts, and I'll see you soon.